Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video, I'll be unboxing the Vivo U20 and giving you a quick hands-on review. So guys, here's the box. Now this phone is launched exclusively online, so you can buy it online on Amazon.in or even on Vivo's official website. Now this phone is available in two variants. Base variant is priced at 11,000 rupees for 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, and the next variant is priced at 12,000 rupees for 6GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. It's available in two colors, Racing Black and Blaze Blue, and we have the Blaze Blue color in the base variant that's with 4GB of RAM. By the way, if you're planning to buy this phone, get the 6GB variant, it's a much better value for money. Now let's look at some of its highlights. This phone has a massive 5000 mAh battery, it comes with a Snapdragon 675 processor, just like the Redmi Note 7 Pro. It supports fast charging and also comes with an 18 watts power adapter inside the box. It has a massive 6.5-inch display, which is the biggest in this price segment, and it also comes with Full HD Plus resolution, so it's gonna be great for gaming as well. Now besides that, you also have the regular stuff, triple camera setup, great selfie camera, and everything else. So for a base price of 11,000 rupees, this phone definitely packs a lot of cool things. In fact, it offers you better things than the Realme phones and the Xiaomi phones. Now that's all on the paper, let's see how good it actually is. Now let's have a physical overview of the box. On the front we have the Vivo branding and it simply says U20 at the bottom. It is a pretty minimalistic packaging or designing. On the back side we have some of the highlighting features, which is mainly the processor, battery and so on, which I'll talk about in a second. Next we have some specifications, IMEI numbers and so on. So now without any further delays, let's just unbox it. By the way guys, this is an online exclusive phone and this is also made in India. And that's probably why Vivo is able to sell it at a very low cost. If it's a retail phone, it would have been easily priced around 18,000 rupees or even more. So it is just that good. And as I've told you, this phone offers you a great value, especially when you compare it with the Realme and Xiaomi phones. So let's open it up. Now once we open the box, first we have a cardboard box. Let me just open it up first. Inside that we have a SIM card ejector, some documentation, and a free soft silicone pouch. Really appreciated. Next we have the phone itself. Let me just put that aside. So that's the blue color. Next we have some IMEI number stickers and some separator. Next we have the 18 watt power adapter. It looks like a standard Vivo power adapter. Finally, we have a micro USB charging cable. Yes, it's still micro USB, not type C. So guys, these are all the contents of the box. Now let me just put everything aside and come back to the phone itself. So guys, here's the phone in plastic wrapping, and at the top we have some card information followed by IMEI numbers and some tips about how to use your phone, probably maintain your battery life. Now let me just open it up and we are done. So guys, this is how the phone looks on the back and this is how it looks on the front. Now let's have a physical overview. On the back, this phone has a 3D curved fiberglass with a pretty cool looking reflective pattern on the back. This is the blue color, and at the top it has a blue hue, and at the bottom it has a purple hue, and at the center you also get an S curve, which looks pretty cool on the whole. On the top left corner we have the camera module with a triple camera setup followed by a single LED flash, and it even says Air triple camera. Beside that we have the fingerprint scanner with a nice matte finish, and finally at the bottom it has the Vivo branding. On the front it has a massive display with a dewdrop notch protected by a 2.5D curved glass. You also get a free screen guard pre-applied, which I really appreciate. Inside the notch we have the front facing camera, and above the notch it has an earpiece. And below the display it's completely plain and the chin is pretty small. It's not super sleek but pretty good considering the price. Now for the sides, on the right side it has a power and volume button, seems to be made of plastic. They are sufficiently elevated and have a nice clicky feel to them. At the top it is completely plain. On the left side it has just the SIM card tray housing 2 nano SIM slots along with a dedicated SD card slot. Finally, at the bottom, it has a 3.5mm audio jack followed by the primary microphone, micro USB charging port with 2 screws on either side, and finally a speaker grill on the right corner. This phone has a thickness of 8.89mm and weighs 193 grams. In hand, it doesn't feel all that thick, but has a bit of weight to it, and weight distribution seems to be bad because it kinda tilts the phone in one direction. Now all that's because of that massive 5000 mAh battery. Now let me just try this case. So guys, this is how the phone looks with the case on. It has all the cutouts, buttons are nice and clickable even with the case on. And the case itself is pretty strong. It is made of soft silicone, but it is very well made. It is of pretty good quality. It doesn't feel cheap at all. Now it has a significantly big raised lip on the front, so even when you place your phone directly on its face, display is not in contact with the surface. On the back, it has a slightly raised lip for the camera module. It's almost negligible, but it's still there. So you can place your phone directly on its back and it is kinda okay. Overall, this case can give you some extra grip and prevent smudges, but that's all. For long-term use, I would definitely recommend you to get a better case. Now these are the complete specifications. On the rear, it is a triple camera setup with an 8MP super wide angle camera with 120° field of view and f2.2 aperture. That's followed by a 16MP primary camera with f1.78 aperture and Sony IMX499 sensor. Finally, at the bottom, it has a 2MP camera with f2.4 aperture. For selfies, it has a 16MP camera with f2.0 aperture. On the front, you get a massive 6.53-inch IPS display with Full HD Plus resolution with 90.3% screen to body ratio. It also has Wideband L1 support, so you can watch high-definition videos on Netflix and Amazon Prime. Under the hood, it sports a Snapdragon 675 processor with Adreno 612 GPU with 4GB of LPDDR4X RAM and 64GB of UFS 2.1 storage. It will be running FunTouch OS 9.2 based on Android 9.0. Finally, powering this device is a 5000 mAh battery that supports fast charging up to 18 watts. Vivo calls it the dual engine fast charger. This phone also supports reverse charging technology if you have an OTG cable. So guys, those were the specifications. Now let me turn on the phone and set it up and come back to you in a second. So guys, this is how the phone looks once we turn it on and set it up. This is the default launcher, and as always, there's no app drawer. So all the apps are thrown into the home screen. Now these are all apps that come pre-installed and there is quite a bit of bloatware. And as usual, if there is any application that you don't use, uninstall it as soon as possible. Now let's check out storage information. This phone is running the latest version of FunTouch OS and a lot of UI elements have been changed. Now let's check the RAM and storage. So out of that 64GB of storage, we get about 52GB of space for our user apps and user data. And out of that 4GB of RAM, we get about 2.5GB of RAM free right out of the box. Now let's check the about page. On this phone, it's called My Device and that's where you get the information. So this phone is running FunTouch OS version 9.2 based on Android 9. That's Android Pie. It should probably get Android 10 update pretty soon. And finally, it has the latest November security patch, which is pretty cool. Now let's check the camera interface. So this is the camera interface. It looks pretty similar to the latest Vivo phones that we have seen, mainly the Vivo V17 Pro. Right now we are using the primary camera and you can switch between cameras using this button here. So first we have ultra wide angle, that's the wide angle camera. And as you can see, it is pretty wide. I'll show you sample shots later. Next we have bokeh mode, that's portrait mode for the rear camera. Finally, we have super macro mode, which will allow you to take close-up shots. So that's pretty cool. Next we have a dedicated portrait mode, and surprisingly, we can also take portrait shots using the wide angle camera. So this is once again a new feature. Next we have a dedicated night mode to take better pictures in low lighting conditions. On the right side we have video recording, and this phone also supports 4K video recording, so that's pretty cool. You can change the resolution from here. So that's 4K, and you can also record video using the wide angle camera. Now if you go to more, we get some extra options. Now this is the interface for the front camera, and initial impressions, it does look pretty good. On the left side we have a dedicated portrait mode, and you also have face beauty, so that's standard. On the right side we have the video mode, and we can record video at 1080p resolution using the front camera. And finally, in the more section, we got these extra options. The main thing over here that works for the front camera are the AR stickers. So you can take cool pictures like these with AR stickers. So guys, that's the camera interface. Now these are some sample shots. Now let's test the speaker loudness.
This is all, so I don't need to take it slow.
So guys, speaker on this phone is sufficiently loud for ringtones, alarms and media consumption. I still wish it had stereo speakers like some of the recent phones like the Oppo A5 2020 and even the Moto G8 Plus. That would have been really awesome. So now let's check the fingerprint scanner. I've already set it up and here we go. Fingerprint scanner is super fast, just like any other Vivo phone. Now let's test the face unlock feature. Once again, I've already set it up and here we go. In good lighting conditions, face unlock seems to be pretty fast. It's pretty normal for Vivo phones to be faster with face unlock and fingerprint scanner. And the same applies even here. Now let's test it in low lighting conditions. Even in low lighting conditions, it is pretty fast. Now let's test it in complete darkness. Even in complete darkness, it is pretty fast. So guys, that was the face unlock feature. This phone is running the latest version of FunTouch OS and it brought in few new things. It has a redesigned control center. Here's a quick preview of that. These are your toggles, these are your brightness slider and volume slider, and you have a toggler here for auto brightness, and this here is a shortcut for settings. And these are all your toggles. Next, we also got a dedicated dark mode on this phone and you can enable it from the toggles or from the display settings. And once you turn it on, all the UI elements change to the dark mode and your phone will look much more cooler. And once you enable the dark mode, even some system apps change the theme automatically. So this is a phone dialer application and this is the SMS application. And as you have seen, theme has been changed even for these applications. So that's a pretty cool feature and I would definitely recommend you to turn it on all the time. Now before I conclude, these are the Antutu and Geekbench scores. So guys, this is the new Vivo U20. Honestly, when I heard that U20 was being launched, I was like pretty bummed. Like it hasn't been like 2 months since U10 has been launched and I was wondering why Vivo is launching this phone. But honestly, after looking at the specs, I understood the reason. And now, with this phone in my hand, I can clearly say this is one of the best phones that you can get under 12,000 rupees. Especially if you consider that 6GB of RAM. If you're looking for a phone with a lot of performance, good cameras, and most importantly a huge battery, you can definitely consider this phone. So guys, what do you think about this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, use the link in the description, it always helps the channel. If you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off, have a nice day.